Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now today I don't really have any ideas in my head. Well, I have ideas, but therefore in a few weeks time because they take time. You'll see when the videos are out. You should probably subscribe and then check my channel out. So today I wanted to do just a quick little recap of what I read over the summer. Clearly, it's not summer. It's mid-September. However, I haven't have really had the chance to do this yet, and I thought now's the perfect chance because I'm busy with school, and so I might as well do it while I have the time. So here is going to be my summer reading recap, what I read over the summer. I could do it for like the entirety of the summer, being like June, July, August. However, I'm just going to do my summer holidays. And for all you guys out there, the UK school system works like differently to like any other place, okay? While what I've seen, the majority of people in the world get like 2-3 months off. Like a lot of like Americans I've seen, some of them get like 3 months off, and then mostly Europeans get like 2 months off. In the UK, we get 6 weeks. So we get 6 weeks off for summer. Personally, for me, I was off from the 23rd of July to the 3rd of September. So I had just about late July and then all of August. However, when I give you this recap, seeing as I read, okay, that's actually not bad. I read 7 books in 6 weeks. Probably a little bit of a slower pace than I would have liked. However, I have reasonings for that. I finished my first draft over the summer holidays. I made a goal that I would have my first draft finished by the time I go back to school, and I got it done the 1st of September, 2 days before we went back. And when I say I wrote a lot, I mean I wrote a lot. I locked in so hard, while also somehow managing to socialize and post videos. Don't ask me how I did it. But I remember I ended the school year with a goal of 50,000 words across all my projects. So my main project that I'm working on had 40,000 words, and everything else added together had 10,000 words. Basically, my other projects were things that I started when I had writer's block from my main project. But now I'm fully focused on my main project, so that 10,000 won't exactly move much. I finished the summer holidays with 76,000 words on my first draft, and then the extra 10,600 added on. I added them all together, the exact numbers, it came to exactly 87,000 words and one, meaning I wrote almost exactly 37,000 words over 6 weeks. 37,000 words in 42 days. How I did that? While also reading 7 books and filming videos, posting on YouTube, managing a social life, I really don't know. I just want to put it out there before I begin this. I was also reading 2 other books by the end of the summer holidays that I didn't quite finish, so sadly they don't get a place in the video. But here's your special mention to Jane Eyre and Divine Rivals. Anyways, let's get into the main point of the video. The first book I read from, I think it was like the 22nd of July to the 31st of July, was The Summer of Broken Rules. Reasons why I bought this book. One, I'd seen a few videos of it, and like literally like 3 videos, and they were all saying it was good. 2, because it had pretty special edition designs. 3, it's floppy. Okay, I don't know why these bits are here though. It's not hardback, it's paperback. But look at how cute that is. This book was honestly amazing. My hair's going frizzy. I've decided to leave it natural for once, and it's like, ew. Anyways, this was so cute. I was in like a little romance era for like a brief moment in the summer because, it was summer. Despite the time it took me to read this was like incredible. It was really easy to get through. I liked the writing. It was quite simple, if I remember right. You can honestly just speed through this. Definitely just like a cute read if you're looking for something just adorable. The romance is not slow burn. It's very quick paced. And not as in like it's rushed. I mean like the book's set across like 1 week. And that was something that came quite unexpected to me because even though it says like, the summer of Broken Rules, I didn't expect it to be that short. However, I think it worked out really well. Get like separate parts for like each of the days. There's also like a game involved in this thing, a traditional family game. So there's definitely some like family aspects. Actually, quite a lot of family aspects because apart from the romance, there's also like quite sad topics within it. It is quite a significant topic about grief, which I thought was actually done really well. I don't know. I felt really sad whenever I read about it. Like the main character Meredith, she's kind of like trying to find herself through going back to this place. And romance happens here and there along with dealing with grief, and it's just so cute. I genuinely loved it so much. And in the end, I gave it 4.75 stars. Like again, like most books, there was just like a few moments where I was like, okay. And that's kind of just what it stopped it from being like 5 stars. But that happens with most books. It's fine. I would definitely recommend this as a romance book. It's YA. There's like, if I remember this correctly, there's a spy scene, but it like cuts off before you actually get to anything. So it's like YA all over. And definitely read this if you're in a romance mood. Also, I don't know, it's like kind of painful for me like sitting right now because I'm kind of like crouched on my chair, because if I stand up, it'll be like awkward me like standing up and not sitting down. This is the best angle where I can film at in my room. But if I sit on my chair, I'm way too low down. The next book that I read was Rival Darling by Alexandra Moody. I read this from the 31st of July to the 31st of July. This, classic little ice hockey trope. This girl, Violet, has just broken up with her ex, who is the captain of her school's ice hockey team, right? And this guy, Reed Darling, which is why it's called Rival Darling, that's their last names, he plays for the opposition. Like the enemy, the rival ice hockey team. Fake dating trope. Just like, how cute. If you are looking for a completely YA hockey romance, please, yeah, this is great. I'm gonna get, I think it's called Grumpy Darling. Yes. Basically they're called the Darling. There's like the Darling brothers. There's 3 of them. This is Reed. The other one is called Grayson, and then I may or may not have forgotten the last one's name, but it's fine. This book isn't out yet, so the exception is there. I just want to put it out there. I think all the hockey romances that I've ever read have not been YA. Something about hockeys and having been. So I've read the Maple Hills series, so like Icebreaker, Wildfire, Daydream. Very, very un-YA. I've also read Collide. Also not very YA. And I believe those are the only hockey romances I've read until this one. It was cute. It was. And I was kind of like, I think I was a bit hesitant at first because I was like, okay, fake dating. We all know how this goes, right? All fake dating tropes start to seem the same to me. At the beginning of my reading journey, all I would read was romance books. Or like the beginning of my reading journey in 2024, that was all I read. And then it got to a point where I was like, wait, why are all these storylines like low-key the same? So that's why I was kind of a bit hesitant at first, because it was like fake dating, like, same storyline, whatever. But I did really enjoy this, honestly. I do recommend. Beware. There's a thing at the end, and I genuinely think this actually lowered my rating from like a 4.5 to a 4.25. Yeah, that was why I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. It dropped because of something Reed did at the end. Not like necessarily a bad thing. Let's just say, if anyone's read Twisted Love, you know about Alex and his singing. Yeah, to Ava. It reminded me of that. And I don't know if anyone else thought of that, but it reminded me of that. And I just couldn't cope with that. However, like pushing that aside, well, we don't push that aside. This was good. From August 8th to August 9th, I read If Only I Told Her. And now I've already read If Only I Told Her. In fact, I read it so long ago. I read it in April 2024. Excluding my first reading phase back in 2023, where I only read thrillers, this was the third book I picked up, like, ever. It was Icebreaker, then The Spanish Love Deception, and then If Only I Told Her, based on my friend's recommendation. I literally read this before If He Had Been With Me. I have read If He Had Been With Me. I don't have it on my shelf because I gave it to one of my friends. She never gave it back. But we don't hold grudges over here, so yeah. Now. This book, I don't like dislike it, but I don't love it either. It's kind of just like a mutual thing. And I don't think you can come to me with a solid opinion on these books. Now, that's kind of horrible because this is a review of my summer reads. But oh, I read it so long ago the spine's cracked. You can't see in this lighting, but the spine has been cracked. 2.5 times because one of them's like not fully done. On my Goodreads, this has 3 stars, and it used to be like 4 stars, but then I lowered it down because I realized, wait, was it that good or was it just heartbreaking at the time? At the time, when you read this, it's definitely heartbreaking, especially if you're a beginner reader. Okay, especially. I didn't know anything about like writing styles or like pacing, um, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is the best book in existence. This is amazing. I didn't have Goodreads then, so I didn't actually give it like a star rating, but I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love this. This is heartbreaking. First book I ever cried over. No, it wasn't. I lie. I'm a liar. It was the second book I ever cried over. Yes, I did cry over The Spanish Love Deception. What are you gonna do about it, huh? And I feel like those books, I physically can't rate it any lower than 3 stars. Because, especially for Icebreaker, I feel like this, right? Everyone knows Icebreaker, okay? And if you don't know Icebreaker, let's just say it's a very, smutty book. Smutty. Like, to the extreme. They do freaky things, in the Uber. With their friends in the Uber as well. I was 13 when I read that. I picked it up, didn't realize there was spice in it, bought it. I was stupid and didn't read the 18 plus at the bottom. One of my friends texted me after I did like a little haul and be like, "Oh, I've seen that book on TikTok. It's really spicy. Go to page 136." I go to page 136. Bear in mind, I'm still innocent, okay? I've never had like Wattpad or AO3 or anything. I never read from one of those things. That's the story on Icebreaker, for full context. I've read Icebreaker twice, actually. I can't physically rate it anything lower than 3 stars. So it's stuck on 3 stars on my Goodreads because credit where credit's due, it got me back into reading after a 10-month reading slump, which is kind of crazy to think because if I hadn't have read Icebreaker, I wouldn't be here. Like, I wouldn't be here. That sounds like I would have died if I didn't read Icebreaker. But you know what I mean. I wouldn't have this channel, I wouldn't have my Instagram, I wouldn't have my TikTok. I wouldn't be writing my own book if I hadn't have read Icebreaker. The butterfly effect is crazy. And then the Spanish Love Deception, I think I have it as 4 stars because it was from what I remember, it was fake dating as well. But obviously back then I hadn't read a fake dating. Um, I loved it, and yes, I did cry. So what? This one I did cry even though I knew what was coming because my friend had told me the entire plot, which I asked for, and then I was like, "Oh wow, that sounds like such a good plot. I'm gonna buy it." For me, I feel like I can't give you guys an honest review on this book because it I have like such it's like an attachment almost because I get sad. Like, I say it's not a good book and the writing's bad because the writing is bad, okay? No offense, but it's really not that great. I think it's better in this book though than If He Had Been With Me. But I've only read that once, so I can't really judge. Even after I say that, if I see a video, I'll get like really sad about it because obviously there's this thing that happens and it's like, aw. And even as I was reading this, when I got close to like the thing that happens, if you know, you know, there's a significant thing that happens. I don't know, I felt this feeling, like a dreading kind of feeling because I knew it was coming. even though I don't actually. But that's the thing, I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it. So please go to anyone else but me with a proper review of this book because I cannot be trusted. I read it in honor of August 8th. Again, if you know, you know. 21st of July to the 10th of August. So this book was always being read on the side of all those other books, right? And I kind of feel bad for reading it on the side because I did really enjoy it. It was the one and only A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. The series that everyone fusses over. I bought it a while ago and I thought, okay, I'll see what the hype's about. That's a lie. I bought it a while ago and I decided to read it because I was talking about it with my literal English teacher because she's reading the series right now. Oh no. There's spice in this series, isn't there? She'll know I've read that. No, I skim the scenes, but no one ever believes me. Guys, I promise I skim the scenes. Basically, if I see something getting like a little bit spicy, I just go like, and just like skim it. But no one ever believes me. This book was actually really good. I loved the starting. I don't know, it's just very, very cool. And then the ending had me like hooked. Like so hooked. I genuinely loved it so much. The middle was just fun. Nothing was really happening for quite a while. They were just like staying at this place. And then I think it kind of hits like a turning point, like page like 200. I think that's the thing with Sarah J. Maas, because I'm currently reading Throne of Glass and it gets good around page 200. I don't know. But before that, kind of nothing really happens. And I think that's what got my rating lower because even though I was enjoying it, I was kind of just like, are we gonna pick up the pace a little bit or I don't get the Tamlin hate. I'm sure you know that Tamlin gets hated. I don't know why. I'm just gonna sit like this. I don't know why he's hated yet. He seems pretty chill. What's his name? Oh, I called him Lucian for like ages. But then I started listening to the audiobook when I was finishing it, and it calls him Lucian, like a lotion. Anyways, and then Feyre is the main character. She's a diva. I love her. I don't know how I feel about her sisters though. I can definitely see why a lot of people pick this for like a good first fantasy read. Obviously, as me, fantasy, romantasy, favorite genre, easily. Romance, fantasy, mystery, thriller, dystopian. I've read just like literature books. I've even read classics now. I've read a non-fiction book. I can definitely see why people like this. And for people saying that this is the worst, not including the blue small book, people saying that this is the worst book, I'm quite impressed because obviously, like, so now I have really high standards for the rest of the series. If this is the worst book, I need to be impressed. I don't like adult books. Like I like adult books because sometimes I just want to break from all like the traditional YA 17-year-old girls doesn't want to wear a dress, likes her rags, you know? I want to break from that. I want more complex stuff. But then why does it always have to come with the spice? I don't want that. However, overall, I gave this book 4.25 stars on Goodreads. I may or may not have the second book for another video coming up soon. Oh my god, guys, I've changed the angle and I've like moved the way I'm sat so I can talk to you guys properly. And I can sit comfortably. This is amazing because my feet are going numb and static and my ankles were really hurting. I went through all the genres in this summer holidays. Going for yet another change is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is in hardback because it came out really recently. The original is £20. But I managed to get it for 17 because it was £3 off. The sun is like already set, but there was no pretty sunset. I feel like this video will be really funny because you'll just like see the light gradually fading from my face. This book was like insane. I read it in like 2 days, almost 1 day. Okay, this book is like 400 pages. Okay, I read like 20 pages of it like one evening. Okay, and then the next day I read the other 380 pages without even meaning to. Every time I went to put it down to do something else, I physically couldn't. I couldn't put it down. It was amazing. Holly Jackson, you have done it again. Apart from Icebreaker, if you don't know, Holly Jackson was actually the author that got me into reading in the first place in my 2023 reading phase. There's a difference between the two, okay? 2023, I only read like thrillers and stuff, then 10-month reading slump, and then, started up again with Icebreaker. But the first book, like the first proper book talk book that I ever read, was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And then, this is great. This was Holly Jackson's first adult book, I believe. There was nothing like too drastic about the changes. Like a lot of her books have like really like dark topics in it. This was definitely an excuse just to add more swear words. The main character, Jet, she swears so much. She's so funny. I actually love Jet so much. This book is genuinely a 6-star read. I didn't even need to consider it, okay? It's 6-star read. Amazing. Please, I beg you, read this book. Even if you haven't read thrillers, I feel like this is quite easygoing, even if you're not used to that certain genre. I personally think is one of Holly Jackson's best books ever. And I've read all of her books. A Good Girl Gone Mad, A Good Girl Bad Blood, As Good as Dead, Five Survived the Reappearance of Richard Price, Not Quite Dead Yet, even Killjoy, the novella. It was so easy to get attached to the characters. Like, I was obsessed with them within like the first 10 pages. It was crazy. I felt there was like really good development with all the characters. Obviously, Holly Jackson just always like that. She's just genuinely an amazing author. I love her so much. Anytime I go into London, I'm secretly hoping I accidentally stumble upon her. P.S. It hasn't happened yet. A girl can only hope. The next book is The Midnight Hour by Eve Chase. I read this book over the span of like maybe 3-4 days. It's like, or just again, like under 400 pages. They all have around the same length. I ended up giving this book 3 stars, okay? It wasn't that it was bad at all. There was quite a lot of aspects with it. There was like a switch between the past and the present, which I thought was really cool. There was also a switch in perspectives from Maggie, this girl, and Kit, her younger brother. But with the past, it was only Maggie's perspective, and it was in first person. The past was Maggie's perspectives in first person, but in the present, it was either Maggie or Kit's perspective, and it was all in third person. That was quite interesting to read from. A little bit confusing at first. The beginning was a bit confusing, and the end, I don't know, it wasn't the greatest thing ever. I always liked the past more until the end, and then I liked the present more. I thought the characters were good. I did enjoy the characters, and one of my favorite parts was, I think it's just because I might be obsessed with romance, but one of my favorite parts was a little subplot of romance I found that really cute. However, I didn't really I understood the kind of plot twist, and I was really involved in one of the plot twists, which was in the present. But then in the past, it was kind of just like, not like boring, but it was like the stakes weren't high enough. It just felt like they were stressing over nothing. My favourite part was actually the middle, which is quite shocking to see, because normally the middle is when it goes downhill. But I preferred the middle of the book. Would I specifically recommend this book? I don't think so. Would I spend like all day, every day thinking about it? No. No. It's not. I've read better, to be fair. However, there were moments where I was really enjoying it. There were certain aspects that I really did like. I wouldn't specifically go out my way to recommend this to anyone, but it's out there. It's out there. The final book that I read this summer was Heartless. Oh my god. Sadly, I don't think I can give it 6 stars, but it's definitely 5 stars. It was just so cool. Basically, it's about the Queen of Hearts, from like Alice in Wonderland, but it's her backstory. There's like an aspect of romance in it. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. I cried. I knew I knew what happened in this book, and I still cried. This book I would literally shove in people's faces. I'm gonna shove it in your face. please, please read this, okay? The story, I just felt like the plot, it moved perfectly. It was beautiful, okay? I kind of have nothing more to say apart from you need to read this, okay? Please read Heartless. Please, please, please. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little summer recap. I hope you guys had a good summer as well. You better have looked in this summer, and now you need to look in for the school year as well. If you're at school, that is. I hope you guys have like a good day or like evening as it is for me. The sun's definitely set by now, so I think I'm gonna do some reading. I'm gonna read Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And yeah, see you guys next video. Bye bye.